In the beginning.
Which Kenyan athlete holds the world record for men's marathon?
Which
Kenyan athlete holds the world record for the men's marathon? Na alikuwa hadi na kuna gari fulani ilikuwa
Kipchoge.
Yeah, it's Kipchoge.
My dad came through. It was a Saturday evening, and he dropped a comic called Super Strikers.
Yeah,
Super Strikers.
And I think it triggered something. It triggered, like, I read it more than 15 times from cover to cover, like just observing pictures, and then I started now drawing whatever it is that they were doing.
But then when it comes to technical workflows, natumia multipass, I use EXR. Unajua EXR does not compress color data.
Yeah.
So you can underexpose and overexpose without losing any data.
Yeah. So what I do is I use the online renders. So I have a team, tuna 2 people. Tunatengeneza like what you had to do, like a sketch and what's not. Mi nafanya the 3D part. Tunamaliza. Tuna send off to the
So I did every design on paper, and even the frames themselves on paper. And I think my girlfriend at the time would now go, I bought a scanner for 5K because I think I was looking at buying RAM. RAM was like 15K or something, and I didn't have 15K. So I had 5K. And 5K, what can you do? You can buy a scanner. So I got a scanner, and then we would spend like hours and hours scanning each and every frame. And then I'll take it to, at the time I was using Flash, and redraw it using the mouse, not even a tablet at the time, because we didn't have a tablet.
It's actually been a process. When you come to take this workflow like that, you have to go through hurdles. Like, unaenda kitu inatokea vibaya, you're like, I should have done this before.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us once again. This is the Creative CoLab. Thank you for being here. If you've watched our previous episodes, you definitely know what this is about. If you're new here, this is a space where digital creatives get to learn from each other. And if you check out our previous episodes, you can tell that we are doing this a bit differently. The previous episodes, we had one-on-one conversations, but now we are having group conversations. This is the 3rd one so far. Yes, and I'm joined by 3 amazing gentlemen over here. Maybe you can just start by introducing yourselves from here, then.
Okay, yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Jeff Mandela, full name Japheth. I'm an animator by profession. I'm a university lecturer as well, and the animation director for Uli and Tata Nursery Rhymes, which is a Kenyan show.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
My name is Byron Mwoley. I'm a 3D artist, 3D generalist. So what I do is 3D. Yeah. So I myself have a company known as Signature Effects that does that as well, and VFX as well. Yeah.
I've seen your work. It's pretty awesome.
Appreciate.
So we'll talk about that here.
Yeah.
And the last guy here.
My name is Arnold. I'm a 3D generalist, and I specialize in product visualization and technical workflows. I currently am running a company for motion design, Mac Studio, and we're going on.
Nice.
So let's just start by you guys telling us how you are, how your week has been, what you're working on, how you're feeling too in general.
Oh. let me. Okay. Yeah, this has been quite the year personally, because I've been really caught up with studies and work as well, and trying to balance both. So I can say it's been quite hectic. But at least you try to plan yourself as much as you can and have people around you that, complement what you do and at least support what it is that you're doing. So that, it really goes a long way in terms of helping you with your mental health. So I truly appreciate the people around me. They've always supported me, and also the people that I work with, very professional. And I think that has been a big pillar for me to at least move smoothly throughout this year.
Me personally, I think every stage this year is sort of like a learning stage. So like in terms of my mental health, I think this year has been good for me. I think so, because comparing it to the COVID period, whereby like everything was up and down and what's not. But I think right now I came to understand state of mind and how to not control it but manage any other thing that is thrown on me, or rather at me, by work, rather by any other thing. So managing it, I think I'm in the right state of mind when it comes to managing it. Yeah, but I'm good technically and logically. I'm good. Yeah.
Personally, this year has been tough for me because, like I told you, behind the scenes, I play football and I got a serious injury, almost a year worth. So that's the period I actually decided to take on a new software for technical workflows, compositing. So as creatives, at least we have something to put our hearts out when we have problems. So that's actually been a good thing for me. And learning new things, you get occupied, because when you're not busy, you're consumed. It consumes you more. So I've also tried and explored the music sector. I'm trying to be an instrumentalist as well. So I'm trying to occupy my mind because the injury has been tough. Because at least when you have problems mentally, doing things like running, exercise, it usually calms you down. You start to forget what you're going through. So doing other things has actually helped a lot.
What kind of instrument are you playing?
I'm playing the fiddle. People usually call it the violin, but it is usually a fiddle. How you tune it will give it the name violin or viola.
Really?
Yeah, the instrument is called a fiddle.
Okay.
How much are those things? I just saw they're super expensive. I usually see them in Mwoley, like, this is like 50 G's or something.
Playing is actually the difficult part, not even buying.
It's golf.
That's interesting. I also need an
Everything
outlet.
is expensive. Playing.
Yeah, I also need an outlet, like for being either in your computer the whole time, or I've tried gymming, but you can clearly see it's not working. So I think music might be a good way to do that.
Yeah, actually, we just keep trying to find our hobbies. Kama umesema, gym isn't really that. So you just explore until you find something that works for you. Personally, I'd say my year has been there's been a balance. Yeah, it's been challenging, but there are also good things happening as well. It's been quite busy because I'm a creative designer and I work within agencies. So agency life is you have to put in some amount of effort and time. For that. So it's been really tough, but the people I work with are quite amazing. So utakuta, yes, there's all that pressure, but at the end of the day, the guys, because actually my team, the only guys. So I've tried also to kind of work in such an environment. So that has also been a challenge because kumekuwa na, let me call it a culture shock. Because the way you guys relate with each other is different from how us we relate with each other. Yeah, so I've been trying to incorporate that kind of environment, but generally also with the podcast, it's been going great. So yeah, my year has been good. I wouldn't complain.
Hopefully you see some endorsements here.
Once you have time.
What's the one little endorsement?
It's awesome, because I think seeing it grow from I think the first time you approached me, it was way back when, almost a year plus.
Yeah,
So and seeing as how you progressed and where you are at the moment, I have to commend you. So this is awesome. I'm looking at everything behind the scenes and how far you've gone, the guests that you've already gotten here. So I think personally, from an outside perspective, on your take, I'd say like, yeah, you're moving really well. And I appreciate you. Yeah.
That's great to hear. All right, before we start the conversation, let's just jog our minds kidogo. Najua tu nikasirikia ni. Yeah, these are easy questions. No pressure.
No.
If you don't get them, ni sawa pia. All right, which is the largest county in Kenya by area?
Marsabit.
No, not Marsabit.
Bungoma.
Not Bungoma.
Trans Nzoia.
Kakamega.
No. It starts with T.
Turkana.
Yeah.
Had to be
Yeah, tuko off. Man, social studies or geography?
All
I
right.
think it's changed.
Geography.
It's changed when we finished school.
Yeah.
The county things.
Kuna zile limads?
As we did nini, provinces.
Provinces, yeah, the 8 provinces.
All right. Which Kenyan athlete holds the world record for men's marathon?
Which, sorry?
Which Kenyan athlete holds the world record for the men's marathon? Na alikuwa hadi na kuna gari fulani ilikuwa
Kipchoge.
Si Kipchoge.
yeah, it's Kipchoge.
Kipchoge. Is it Isuzu? There's a partnership with Isuzu. Kipchoge.
Eliud Kipchoge.
Yeah.
Yes.
How's that?
He has like a limited edition Isuzu. Sort of like partnership.
All right. Which football club is known as Kogalo?
Gor Mahia.
These are easy questions.
Those are easy. You see, you're Kenyan.
The fact that I didn't know Kipchoge, I'm Najishuku if I'm Kenyan enough. In my mind, I'm like Poltergat or something. So huko kitambo. I didn't know he broke a record recently.
Marathon in less than 2 hours. That was the
Was
record.
actually a Kenyan record, and it was a
Worldwide record. As humanity. No one was ever
In
done
humanity,
that.
yeah.
Marathon under 2 hours.
Okay. Last question. What was the first Kenyan TV station to broadcast in color?
Color.
Yeah, in color. KBC.
Yeah.
KBC.
I told you guys, I'm too old for this.
You were there.
Okay, I don't say I remember it. Yeah, but yeah, I think I was there. Yeah.
Okay.
Isiwa jokes on ati kuna mtu mwenye ati alikuwa tena bomb blast.
98.
The bomb blast alikuwa ameenda maraundi mali. So someone was asking, kwani wewe ulikuwa ngapi? Kama kangapi?
At 98 and
I think
you
it
were doing rounds. Yeah, you need to be, hey, I don't know.
35 plus.
Yeah.
Ulikuwa umeenda shughuli.
Early 40s.
In town.
So we can start by how you guys got into the careers that you're in currently. Tunaanza na
Okay, so personally, I studied computer science, and I wasn't so sure what I wanted. But then there's a unit called computer graphics. They teach you the ins and outs, how you get from the display and all. But then I wasn't satisfied, and then I ran into some channel. Some guy, I think he's Russian. He's called Andrei Librov, and he does VFX. He does Houdini. Yeah, but then he does using Houdini. And there was an episode in which he tried and used a different software. So he was using C4D. This was in, I think, 2016. Then I decided to just try, because I was using Photoshop, graphic design and all. Then I decided, I need to add another dimension to what I actually do, because I was using Photoshop and all. And that's how the journey began.
how long ago was that?
Since 2016 to now. That's how many years? 4, 8.
Okay, that's interesting. And then you went on and started your own studio.
Yeah, so up to coming to my own studio, freelancing is very difficult, especially the discipline part. And then you also have to handle your finances, the corporate side. So I decided it's better to do it with a team than do everything on my own. So that's how I started shifting from freelancer to corporate. Yeah, but still doing the same things, but evolving as the software evolves. Yeah.
And you currently have a team of how many people?
Right now we are 4, but 2 are the ones active in the creative side. The others are for the operations.
Interesting. That's good. Keep it up.
Thanks.
You?
It's so funny. So I started, before even I studied, because I remember in high school, people were talking about, there was a Kalasha that happened, and some guy won that Kalasha. So that was back in 2016, around there. So the guy, he created something, just a female then, I can't remember the name of the guy. Every time he was at KT News. So in the morning, the guy, akasema, I created every stunt from this woman. That's why I won, blah, blah, blah. I sort of like used this software. So I wrote it down. So there's a guy in high school. My passion was to do computer science as well. But I ended up doing BBIT, Bachelor of Business and Information Technology, just to merge business and information and IT. So there's a guy in my high school. His name is Bruno, Saini Daktari. And the guy was so good in art, because he did art in school. He was so good in art. And we used to talk about just art and cartoons and blah, 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 animations and whatnot. So funny enough, so that was around Form 4. He told me, like, Byron, there's this software I want you to download. It's called Blender. And then kidogo to like few years ago, nilikuwa nimemwambia nime-download, because I had like the opportunity to like, because I was the ICT captain then, I had the opportunity to like have gadgets at hand, laptops and whatnot. So in free time, I went and downloaded like Maya. But it's praised. I was like, says it download student. I'm like the indie. I want like it to like Nasina crack. So like Bruno kaniambia, this kid do not, there's a software inaitwa Blender. Go try it out. Software kumaliza. At home I knew like it's very hard because I used to live in Shags with my mom. So hatuna laptop and whatnot. So my dad alikuwa anakuja once in a while. So nikachukua laptop yake nikasema, wewe ukirudi acha tu laptop because something I'm researching on and I need to nini my courses because put them into perspective and get a university. So then nika download Blender and then that started. So akarudi in 1 week and downloaded the Blender document. I read it chini juu. Just nika memorize. So when now like I got into campus now, I had passion for IT and blah blah because part-time I'm an app developer, so I build apps. So I had the passion for IT, but now like something that like helps me think, helps me like do something that is fun to do and what's not. I can sit on it 24/7. That was now Blender. Now I started now learning. So I don't know if I can dive deep into it. I don't know, it's just introduction, but now I wanted to find out who were these guys who are doing this. Then funny enough, I hollered at her. Yeah, visit. Then I think nikamuuliza, so is this software I'm using? I don't know, it was a DM, right? And I was telling her like, I think we need to collab. Then come amateur, sort of cutting quotes. I think we need to collab because I had this drive that I need to find the real people who are doing this, and I really liked her work, like we alikuwa nafanya and what's not integration, because I didn't want to do Photoshop. I was like, what extra can I do? So, and something extra that I can do that is very different from other people. I want to make it like my DNA. Like I use sort of like skill, or rather like style, a style that it's good to me and it's appealing to every other person. So hivyo tu sasa, that's how I got into it. And sasa the thing that like cemented it, it's when I got into now A3K. Now A3K, now I got the chairperson was forgetting the name.
Kato or Naftali.
Naftali. Yeah, Naftali, my guy. Naftali, no, he was so warm bana. The first time nikashangaa kwani like a chairperson ako hivi warm, because ukimpigia atashika like atakwambia do this that. So that's how I got into it now commercially. Yeah, because the other side shows were like, I'm just trying to do this and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to knock it because I knew there's something into it. Yeah, so hapo ndo nikiingia now to asset development. But the other story is still as we progress. Yeah, but that's just the whole perspective of it. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, by the way, that's how I actually developed my interest as well.
Yeah.
Because there's some things you see and you're not sure how it's done, and you don't know who does it.
Exactly.
Utauliza, how do I do this? Now during my time, because I started in 2016, but then the interest I developed from somewhere 2014 huko. That time hata kupata YouTube resource ati this is what you do for this was quite hard. You need to read documentations and what. And then softwares then actually were quite easy on PCs.
Yeah.
Si kama siku hizi. So I could actually download. I used Cinema 4D, so I could download it on my laptop, try out. But then my journey was just like you was starting.
Yeah, man. It's a long road, but I've learned a lot out of the whole saga. You're meeting new people, meeting different people, and advices and whatnot. But now, like, right now, I'm in a position where, like, if someone comes to me in regards to what should I do, like, blah, 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 I can give just a straight answer because just putting the work, because there's no any other ways, there's not any other route, because I can meet Jeff and MBA. Wait, 2 months, there's a project coming in, I'll hook you up. But now, like, unaweza pata, like, the things in between that you don't understand if you're new. And the things you have to know that you have to deliver, yeah? So I didn't understand that part, throughout that many route. But now, like, it taught me, because there's a time I walked the whole, I didn't know how this, like, I walked the whole industrial area, because I had my brother's car, but what we used to do was, naenda na park the higher industrial area, alafu natembea to every office. I didn't know, like, kuna agencies, yeah? The agencies that work for these companies. I thought these guys, they just hire out of, so I have this idea, look, I can do this, blah, 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 blah. So the lady, and they were very kind. Ati kuna kijana amekuja kukuona. Hebu mpishe msikia, mungilishe tu msikie. So the guy, so there's a lady, can you remember, kanambia, alikuwa so very candid, kanambia, first of all, our financial year, the budget is already set, and you're working with. And that's how I found out the companies in Okna agencies. Kuna companies in Okna agencies. So I never knew, like, such a thing for it. Yeah. So the lady Kanambia, I see you're young and very ambitious, but now the thing is, first of all, our budget for financial year is already set, and people we're working with. And two, if I tell you the next financial year I want to hire a company, and I want the mindset of Signature Facts like a company. I'm like, I have people I'm working with. Yeah, I have people like I'm working with. I'm the leader. I'm sort of like the founder, but I have a creative team behind me. So I want you to give me this to create you content, rather in terms of adverts and whatnot. So the lady was very kind and told me, like, there's things that are called agencies. If you structure yourself into that sort of like environment, then I'd give you like a yes, but not like you are, because it's a risk, yeah? It's a risk. And you don't know exactly the budget you sort of like working with, because I didn't know exactly. I was very green. And mimi nilikuwa nataka kutoka kwa blog, yeah, with this, like with the creative side, because I was I'm so good with the other side, but it doesn't give me that like pleasure kukaa like naweza kaa the whole night. Yeah. Na kufanya hii. But now like out of that I would say like I've learned a lot and I think it was worthwhile. It was worthwhile for me personally, not for any other person, because sometimes unaweza kufa moyo in between, because I walked the whole industrial area, kid you not, one day just trying to find a company that I can work with, and other. So that's how the grind started, the hustle. Yeah.
It's also interesting to see your growth and from the challenges you faced to where you are currently. Your job is really good if you've not seen his work. And I'll showcase your jobs as well on the video once it's edited. How has your journey been?
Yeah, so mine's a bit different. It happened in phases actually. I could say ever since I was a kid, I was always doodling around. I was always very interested in drawing and especially the editorial cartoons in the newspaper. I was very interested in them because at the time we didn't have a TV. We didn't have a, so the form of visual entertainment I'd get was from newspapers. So I would read a lot, and I would read a lot of novels at a very early age. So stories were always on my mind. I'd think about them while in class and whatnot. And then I remember very, very well in November 2003, my dad came through. It was a Saturday evening, and he dropped a comic called Super Strikers. Yeah.
Super Strikers.
And I think it triggered something. It triggered, like, I read it more than 15 times from cover to cover, like just observing pictures, and then I started now redrawing whatever it is that they were doing. And it struck something. So ever since, that was in 2003. And then fast forward a little later, as I said, we didn't have a TV then. So on Sunday mornings, my dad would have his brick phone, Nokia 3310. So he'd tell me to go charge it on our great uncle's place, who had a TV. And at that time, Cartoon Network was being shown from around 9:30 to 11, I think. So I'd get the Dexters and the Powerpuff Girls and the whatnot. So I'd sit there and like properly watch it, and then go back to school the next day and now tell them, okay, at the time everyone else had TV, so it was a matter of belonging. So I'd go back to school and now say, hey, I also watched it yesterday. I also, hata mimi niliwatch. Unakumbuka vile nilifanya hivi na hivi? Yeah, and then you sit back and be like proud of yourself. Yeah, I belong. So fast forward to, but of course during that whole time, when anyone asks you what you have to do, I didn't know that this career actually exists. Like, I was just super passionate about it, super passionate about films. I would watch a lot of movies, but I didn't know exactly that, people in this country can actually do it. So moving forward to high school, that's when I think that was in 2011. I don't know how I was in Form 3 at the time. And then I think in one of the random newspapers, like I saw a course. It was related to film production and animation. And I was like, this is something. Because all through I've been telling people, I just want to be an architect. Because it was the closest thing I could do to drawing. I was very passionate about drawing at the time. But everyone was kind of telling me to suppress it and focus on the more conventional side of things. So architecture was a safe bet for me at the time. But then I saw this thing happen. I was like, let me choose it. So fast forward after KCSE, my dad had told me to choose something in another university, but I went ahead and did this. It's a whole thing in itself. But at least I ended up being sponsored by the government. And so that was first year. Second year I was focusing on film. And then I decided now to branch out to animation because, of course, film had its own challenges, as we are talking about today. But animation, in my perspective, was I had more control over the creative aspect of things because you're creating everything from scratch. So I was like, I feel like I'm more in control of my craft, of my art, through animation. So I think From campus, I was always very aggressive. We started a company with a friend of mine where we did merchandise to try to sustain ourselves, because at the time when you're looking for work in between months, it's hard to get anything. So we tried to sell t-shirts, we tried to sell hoodies through the designs that we ourselves did them. And at the time, he also made a game while I made some animations for NGOs and whatnot, which helped us at least find ourselves into the industry. But yeah, till 2019 now, that's when I moved to South Africa, stayed there for about 3 years, came back in 2022. And here I am, trying to make sure that the current cohort of animators who come through our institutions have the highest quality possible for our industry to move forward. Yeah.
And you've been doing so much. I've been seeing the projects you've been working on from the NGOs. I think it was an NGO initiative to you being a lecturer, and you also trying to pursue further studies in order to bring that knowledge to the younger generation. I think that's something to really admire. And
there's a reason why I'm still as skinny as I am. I'm very surprised my hair is not grey at the moment, but I'm really passionate about the craft in itself, and I try as much as possible to do however much I can for the service of the people. And yeah, that's teaching and actually empowering people being part of it. And hence, it gives me joy, so I can't complain.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later in the conversation. So I'd like to understand the pipeline when it comes to animation. What's the process like for it? Could vary from the projects that you guys work on. So maybe you can just tell us your perspectives on how you guys work on animations from start to finish.
It depends on, because if you're a freelancer by yourself, because I've had the opportunity of working, in a kienyeji bed-sitter room where you have your own laptop and you have your own.
And that's actually most studios.
Most situations, yeah. So of course, you can't compare it to a studio whereby you have a whole dedicated visual development team, you have a whole dedicated. So I can say, on my perspective, initially being a freelancer, just a solo freelancer, or maybe just a team of 1 or 2 people. Because I remember the first short that I did called Mama Mboga. Mama Mboga, I did the initial designs on paper, because I didn't have a proper laptop at the time, and I had always wanted it to be 2D. So I did every design on paper, and even the frames themselves on paper. And I think my girlfriend at the time would now go, I bought a scanner for 5K, because I think I was looking at buying RAM. RAM was like 15K or something, and I didn't have 15K. So I had 5K. And 5K, what can you do? You can buy a scanner. So I got a scanner, and then we would spend like hours and hours scanning each and every frame. And then I'll take it to, at the time I was using Flash, and redraw it using the mouse, not even a tablet at the time, because we didn't have a tablet. So if you watch the first shot, it's very, it was something. But because there's a certain level of quality I wanted for it, so there's a certain level of sacrifice that you'd have to do it. But then moving forward, I think I've seen what I really appreciate at the moment. We have now bigger and bigger productions, whereby you have a whole dedicated visual development team, you have a whole dedicated animation team, a whole post-production team. And what I'm liking about it is some students have also embraced that and are now having specialists. There's a person who's a specialist in character design, there's a specialist in animation, a specialist in storyboarding, a specialist in post-production, and they collaborate and make something of a good quality. So yeah, I think in terms of comparing pipelines in the country, I think we have both. We have those extremes whereby it's yourself yet on this other side we have studios that are well established with tons of equipment.
For me, I just go with the traditional pipeline, or especially when it comes to 3D, because you need to start with the vision, like in vision, there is the storyboard. So like you have to have a guy who does the drawing. I tried in the beginning. I tried to do a lot of drawing because I used to do it by myself, like doing, because it doesn't have to be like perfect. It's just like, you know, a storyboard, a flow of the story, just to give a visual perspective of it. Then out of that, now we have the designing, character design. We have now like modeling of the landscape and whatnot. So you find that now like in that now like there is pre-production, there's production and post-production now. So I think it applies to 2D as well, yeah. So in pre, there's now the building of the story and in visualizing the story. Now, when it comes to the actual now project itself, now building the characters, character creation and what's not, the rigging and what's not. Then you have now the animation bit. So in the animation bit, that's larger work happens. I think larger work happens in pre-production because you're staging for the main story. Now, during the production now, like the animation and whatnot, that's where now you have a clear mind of what you're going to do each frame and the story itself. And now like the post it's the color grading and, you know, compositing everything into one, in music and everything. So I just go with that because if you try to I've tried to divert, you know, cutting shortcuts and what's not, it sort of doesn't help because now like unapata at some point you had to do something at this frame. Let's say between frame, let's say you're doing 25 frames per second. You had maybe frame 320 and maybe 400. You are supposed to do like something in between. Unapata haiko, so you have to, and you know it's 3D, you have to now like redo that nini and render it as well. Yeah, because for me, I think because in the process of me trying to get into this scene, I was trying to use resources that are available. Let's say I didn't have in the beginning, I didn't have like the right materials, rather the laptops. So what I do is I use the online renders. So I have a team two people. Tunatengeneza like what you had to do, like a sketch and what's not. Mi nafanya the 3D part. Tunamaliza. Send off to the online render. And it was, I think, comparing it to like kuchanga, that time kuchanga na kutafuta like the right material and what's not, that was worth it then. Because online renders are ready and kitu nataka tu ni net and funds. And then they used to charge like 5K per 5K, yeah, around 5K. That is 5K per hour around there. But sasa you make sure tulikuwa nafanya kila kitu iko rendered because it's not like something huge tulikuwa na render. Tuna render something in between that 1 hour. Tuna make sure everything is okay. If something goes bad, we'll go physical rendering, which that's using the crappy laptops that we had then. So una make sure like in a stage laptop utatumia for 3 days. So irende hizo frames zenye zimekuwa messed up for 3 days. So I think in that process I just decided to go with it taught me the discipline of the workflow. Yeah. So just go with the normal workflow so that you know client and approve the workflow and approve the story from the storyboard. Then when it comes to actualizing, you just do we used to do like the renders to the plain renders and what's not, so that client and approve the look of it in 3D, then we render it out wholly, yeah. So but now what I'm doing is just the normal traditional workflow, yeah.
You have a team you're working with?
Yeah. I have like 2 people. Mmoja tu anafanya sketches, then okay. I don't know, I have a lot of words, but anyway, guys, mind me. I started out Signature Effects with 4 guys. Our vision was, and even we did interviews. we did interviews. We did interviews. So I had like a guy in campus. His name is Mwoley, good friend of mine. Then Bill is a cousin of mine, who's good at finances and alifanya accounting. Then Mwoley is good at, ule zaman apanga watu, biashara. He knows he's a sweet, tongue. Nikasema like, look, you guys come in. You're creating these signature effects. The name signature ilikuja, I don't know from where, but I knew there's a name with an FX hapo mwisho. So we did an interview, and funny story, I don't know if someone knows Okore Jackson. Okore. Okore, please forgive me. Okore even was alikuwa one of the candidates who came. And no one knew we were amateurs. We were trying to like create this vision of creating something that is, and having a team that is good at it. So we just tulitengeneza an ad tukeka kwa LinkedIn. Then people came in and we were like looking at ourselves. Sasa tutaschedule aje hizi interviews tunafanya. Took a week. That was like around May, June. COVID imesha hit up hivyo. May, June up hivyo. Then the guys came and we did interviews in 2 weeks because kulikuwa na 2 lots. Tukafanya interviews. I think we were so like determined. So after interview, Byron, it was courteous enough because other people walikuwa in the call because we did it virtually. Byron, can you have a separate call after this? Because if you know him, akona experience. Yeah. No, this the brother. Liveron Okorokumu. You have.
Jackson.
This Okorokumu, the brother now.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I can remember Byron. You come on a separate call. Can we have something? Let's set up a seminar. It's about the funds. I think what you're trying to create, it's not realistic from the market survey and whatnot. I think you didn't do homework when you're trying to create this. Personally, I think I might help. I know, I see a vision. I believe in you. I see what you're trying to create. But personally, I don't think I'll be fit because you mean it our dream. Funds because I think to make amateur like budget nini for the team, like annual budget to make crank it down in 2 weeks, and a good like budget survey and what you're going to spend on monthly level, weekly in terms of projects. So I can I don't think I'm not bad. I'm not saying it out of like ill or what's not. I'm just saying. But one thing I'll help you is advice. I'll help you with advice. In case you have anything, just call me. The next, I'm one call away. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot. I have a lot of stories, man. Out of this, where like I've tried to position myself. I think I had just the drive. Yeah. So we created that. Now, I don't know. The question was?
The pipeline, your workflow.
Yeah, the workflow. Nimefikaje huku. My bad. Guys, my bad.
That's an interesting answer. I think you expounded it.
Yeah, too much.
Vastly.
If you see I'm trying to go further, bring me back.
It's in the matters of time.
Yeah, bring me back because
this is a good conversation.
Yeah.
We can come back to you.
So my workflow, actually, I'm trying to make my own workflow based on industry standard workflows, because for the 3D scene, the workflow is very technical and hectic. So from concept to completion, mine is usually like you start with the concept from client, you start with especially storyboard. Storyboard ndio kwa muhimu. Storyboard, you get the ideas, you know how it should play. Then from knowing how the things will go, vitu za assets, so you have to develop the assets and all. Then to modeling. Alafu from there I usually feel like sound design usually comes in, because you need to design the sound before the actions, because timing inawanga important. Then from there ukishaingia kwa the 3D software, you do the things. But hapo kwa software there's one stage usually I skipped, but ever since nianze kuitumia it's been good. Sijui kama unafanyanga proxy animation.
Yeah,
proxy, yeah. Because you can work on an entire project. Then when you come to rendering, unapata the timing is off. Yeah. So proxy usually helps because I will render the entire things, just the wireframes and all. So you get the timing and the staging right.
Yeah.
So from there you do the alafu kuna, because there's a workflow I use for when it comes to compositing ya multipass. So for that multipass, it's usually a different process because you put on layers. Yeah. So hapo na it usually requires a checklist for this one goes on this, which one will require depending on what is needed. But sasa from hapo the remaining is usually the same. You just render out everything else. But for multipass, sijui kama unatumianga what do you render in the outputs?
Output when it comes to
final render.
The final render.
Yeah.
I do DaVinci.
No, the outputs.
Or like the output when I render using my physical. I do
whether physical ama render farm.
Oh, I use the Blender render. The render
Blender
using,
format.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I don't use the name, and it was the recommended SS. This SS.
Achana SS9 is for color space.
Yeah.
So me personally, I used to render in PNG. But then when it comes to technical workflows, nakutumia multipass, I use EXR. Unajua EXR does not compress color data.
Yeah.
So you can underexpose and overexpose without losing any data.
Yeah.
So when I render, I used to do PNG, but no PNG. But EXR is actually quite smaller. Now you can do multi-layer EXR yenye kuna all those multipasses under one file. So that's the process then from rendering to compositing, put on everything together. The project is done. But it's actually been a process. Ndio ni come to take this workflow like that. You have to go through hurdles. Like unarenda kitu inatokea vibaya, you're like, I should have done this before. Yeah. Especially pre-production, it saves you a lot of time.
Yeah.
One thing I've come to realize is for 3D animators, I think 3D animation is a complex field, so it requires heavy machinery. And I think most people, it's a challenge they face because you have to purchase really expensive machines for you to especially render. And you're the first person in Miss kusema there's an online rendering platform. I think people should consider that it's an easier thing to do.
Yeah. Because can you imagine, even like ukiangalia my work coaching, the first ones, I used to use like laptop to like physical like laptop, but ni mzee like haikuina the latitude ile like aina graphics card ni laptop tool. But I wouldn't say like one thing I came to realize is you don't give an excuse to the machine.
Actually,
don't give an excuse to the machine, because I remember there's something I did alafu people really liked it. I never used to post on Instagram just because nilikuwa naeka tu like just a evil too, because it was just for fun. Then someone commented on it and I was like, haya kumbe kitu imebaba jamaa. I was like, machine gani unatumia? I was like, wait if you know, because I think you excuse your machine, people should just find as in work with what you have right now. Yeah. If it's modeling, if it's modeling, you don't have any, because that modeling sikonga na hiyo graphics pad. I used to use my mouse then, and it taught me sort of like hard side. But now like when I go to now have the graphics a tablet, it was easy now.
I think another example I can give for a person who literally there's a game called Kenyan Unlimited, It was done by my former business partner, and his name is Alan Keegan, Kibet Studios. And he literally made that whole game with that. I wish you could have seen how tiny that laptop is. It was laughably tiny, you know, like comically tiny. You have to like use them. And that's what he used to create, you know, models in 3ds Max and sort of transfer. No, at the time he was using Maya and transfer them to Unity, where he'd make the mechanics. And yeah, which actually inspired me a lot. To say that, yeah, sometimes we usually use these excuses of we need very powerful machines, but actually it's just the willpower that someone needs to have and a proper plan on how you're going to execute this with the challenges that you already have. Yeah.
Because actually by the render farm route is expensive. I tried. Kwanza for a beginner, it's quite expensive. So personally, I tried and optimized my workflow, especially stage when you go to finish. There's a stage called, najua sijaambia the entire workflow, but there's a stage called scene optimization. You try and save the amount of resources that will be used to render. So that is something I had to learn due to the limitations of the machine I had at the time.